Well, like you said, then my name is Tony McIntyre with State Precision. Just talk to you about our newest project, SP Grid. Just came out the beginning of the year at IAC for the first time, and I'm excited to share the first time at SIGGRAPH. SP Grid is truly the first unified platform for unified control and automation. So we take in data, aggregate that data from various systems like tracking systems like Vicon. We are a low-code platform. Low-code meaning that visual scripting or GUI-based features, and we can also support Python scripting. We act as the connective tissues between all of these databases and sensors, LiDARs, tracking systems. And we are pretty much the bedrock on building systems around these environments. Some of the options that we have are LiDARs, 2D, 3D LiDARs, sensors, tracking systems for virtual production, a wide range of media servers, and real-time engines. What makes SP Grid really valuable is that data aggregation and our 3D viewport. So we can actually really visualize all the data that's coming into the 3D visualizer, make beautiful looking customized GUIs to monitor that incoming data streams. With that, you can also build customized GUIs. So whether this is technical views of very specific departments like your tracking team or your media playback team or your render engine teams, you can build systems to monitor all this data, give visual representations and feedback when you're losing tracking, and send up and build out kind of like redundant systems based on these GUIs. You can also build beautiful looking GUIs for end customers that will be interacting and interfacing with these GUIs. The key part of SP Grid is the automation part of SP Grid. And this is to have event-based triggers or location-based triggers. So we can automate this entire stage with a skeleton crew based on our spatial intelligence of our software, because everything in SP Grid is 3D spaced. We know exactly where the camera is, and if we set up logic zones that if a camera moves into a logic zone, we can have a trigger sent to a camera switcher to switch cameras, or we can say play this cue or have a light turn on or audio playback at a certain frame, just based on location-based triggers. There's, like I said, there's 3 different layers of programming in SP. There is the GUI-based features, pretty much where you're able to drag and drop features, see everything from a GUI-based. There is node-based, so scripting. So if you need a little bit more finer tune of extracting certain types of data from a parameter, you can do that as well. And then really excited to share that we've just incorporated Python scripting into SP Grid, where if there's not an integration that we've developed, our users can actually generate plugins or features based on what their needs are. That's something that we're really excited to share. That's new to SP Grid. So in studio-based, so we work through a lot of different kind of environments, being your typical virtual production LED volumes with green screen, your TV broadcast, sports venues, esports, educational. So there's a lot of tools that we can develop on that. And that's a little bit of a background. Let me focus more on how we are using Grid in a virtual production scenario. So what you're looking at is everything that's coming in and coming out of SP, and SP being that connective tissue between all these systems and devices. So first, starts off with frictionless integrations of pretty much every industry standard protocol for tracking systems. Vicon being one of the preferred vendors that we work with. They have a great tracking system that we can feed in, not just the crown from the tracking, but also hopefully soon that we'll be integrating with their marketing systems as well. Another thing that we have tools for calibrating camera lenses, aligning the tracking systems, but also very vital to virtual production workflows is to build the 3D meshes that are necessary for 3D workflows. So in these tracking camera calibration workflows, we can actually solve for a lot of things. One of that being, if you're just interested in building your lens profiles, you can, before your shoot days, whether it's days or weeks ahead of time, you can prepare your profiles in SPGrid. They're actually stored as profiles. You can build GUIs that are drop downs that hold and as a canister all of your profiles. And then the great thing is that these profiles are not stuck in SPGrid. You can then forward these profiles over to your media systems or your real-time engines. The other things that we can solve for is tracking alignment, so that if, let's say, a tracking system got fudged and it needed to be dialed in again with our tracking pattern, we can just take a few more observations and do a reposition of that calibration. This is actually really useful for wild walls in virtual production. So if these wild walls are not actually tracked with anything, they're just moved around in space, we can put our calibration board on, take an observation, and we are sending the exact coordinates of that new location directly to the media server and real-time engine. And like I said before, the building of the mesh is actually the biggest thing. For pre-production, it's really lowering the barrier for these production teams that are going in and building new volumes. They don't have to have someone come in with a scanner and to build this UV mesh. We are actually then building out the UV mesh ready for to be loaded into your media system of choice. Other great things, using time graphs to monitor all of the incoming streams. Again, we handle data. That's our primary purpose. This is what we do really well. So if we're looking at multiple different tracking systems coming in, we can see latency, we can time buffer, delay, and for virtual production studios that are looking to squeeze out and trim as much of the milliseconds of latency, we can optimize our system very well. Also on the outgoing data, we can monitor that as well. And so what you're looking at here is pretty much our 3D visualizer. When volumes get really large and it's hard to manage everything that you see, especially if you have props involved, your line of sight, the cameras, that can be challenging. So I know a lot of our customers are using our visualizers to verify tracking movements, to simulate tracking movements, to block off their camera shots, but also adding logic to areas where they may be known that they have lost tracking, so they can have a visual representation or indicator that is telling them that they're losing tracking. And that's something that can be brought in through our custom GUI boards. Another really important thing is, all this is really important, is recording of data. So everything that comes into SP can be recorded on the timeline with timestamps from time code, the tracking information, as well as lens intrinsics if we're talking about virtual production. And all of that can be then exported out as an XFBX for post-production. That's really vital for our post-production clientele. These are the custom boards that I was talking about. So we develop a small software called Gateway, and this small little software is pretty much responsible for allowing us to gather more information on render nodes or any other device that's on the network, any PC that's on the network. So we can fetch like run times, drive capacities, network interface configurations, as well as startup and shutdown of any kind of scripting of applications. And all of that can then be built into custom user interfaces. We also have another software plugin for UE5 called Shield, and this allows you to gain a finer control of your render pipeline. So utilizing all of the integration that you have from SVGrid, all the camera tracking information, Unreal actually supports our protocol SVNet, which allows us to have bi-directional communication with Unreal. So we can fetch information like blueprint level sequences, anything that's available in the blueprint, we can actually fetch into SVGrid. This is actually a drop down of what's available on that render node. And those are some of the functions that you can run just from SP, which again could also be built into custom GUIs, which you don't have to drive from Unreal. You can actually drive everything from one user interface. Yeah, like I said before, exporting these lens profiles is actually very vital because you don't have to no longer send your lens to tracking manufacturers to build these profiles. You can just do that in the comfort of your own facility or the day of your shoot and have these profiles built and then forward it over to your media servers of choice. And that is the complete circle of SVGrid and a virtual production stage. Some use cases we were used in the hit of Fallout. Our partner, All of It Now, did a great job on using a lot of our tools, monitoring tools, our visualizer tools, to be able to see line of sight, to set up parameters of when tracking was failing. This is really important to keep production teams busy because money is time, time is money. So a lot of different tools were utilized in that. The Super Bowl in 2024, we partnered with Silver Spoon, CBS, Nickelodeon. We were responsible for tracking up to 15 cameras. We also acted as a virtual matrix for data inputs for tracking, as well as physical camera switching in case any kind of failure happened. We can actually act as that virtual matrix. Eurovision 2024, we touch a lot of different industries. So as we see AVLM merge closer and closer together, it's really vital to have a centralized way of controlling data, managing it, QAing it, making sure that everything is running appropriately, and also respond when there is any kind of disturbance in your signals. And SP is really good at that, especially in live. Another example, AR graphics using SP to calibrate multiple cameras in a large area. So we use actually use the football stadium, the field, to calibrate where the cameras are by just a couple shots of our observations to calibrate the location of the cameras. And then actually a really good article from AV Magazine that just dropped today on Gamers 8, who's actually EWC now. That was done in Riyadh. I think they just completed their championship, I think this month. There's a great article of how SP was utilized on all three of their venues, tracking cameras, camera calibration, augmented reality. We were a stabilizer for that entire production. And then lastly, Coachella, again, another live event with All of It Now. They utilized multiple PDZ cameras where they calibrated through SP with PDZs and utilized our gateway plugin to be able to spin up different Unreal scenes as the presenter was going through their performance. And that is it. If you have any questions, if you want to learn more, please come find me, talk to me. I'm happy to answer your questions and take a scan of the QR codes to learn more. Thank you.